Good morning, New York Mets Nation, and welcome to the Bat Cave. I'm your host, the Bat Fry, Kenny Fry, and it's not good in New York Mets Nation. It is not good at all. There was a nice win last night, but besides that, it's been awful. The month of June has just been forever. There's our buddy Adam Glenn checking in. How you doing, buddy? Number one every time. He got it. So let's kick it off. Don't even know if I want to. Last year was a lot more fun. You know, at least most of the season when I was doing this, when I started doing this, I think I started doing it in July or August. I think it was July. It was a lot more fun, a lot more wins, and this has been just absolutely brutal. And but you know what? You got to take the bad with the good, right? The good with the bad, or however you want to say it. When it's going good, everybody's happy. When it's going bad, everybody is sad. You're sad. Anyway, Mets are cold blue after the Phillies series. That was just despicable, gross. There he is. Chris, what's up, buddy? CPNY Sports, Sports Pod. Check him out. They just released he and the Amish country Mets fan, Nelson, just released a new show yesterday, I believe. I believe they're going to be live on Tuesdays and Thursdays for the most part. The Interstate Mets Pod. So check that out on the YouTube. Give them a follow and follow them on Twitter and stuff like that. If you want to throw up your handle there, Chris, I'll go ahead and post it. If there's any Mets fans. Hello, Mets fans, are you out there? If there's any of them out there, maybe they'll follow you. Give you a little follow there to help you out. But yeah, that Philly series was just disgusting, gut-wrenching, and it really sums up the season. To be 100% honest with you, game one we lose 5-1. Senga goes out there, does his Senga thing, throws a lot of pitches in 5 innings. It was 102 pitches in 5 1/3 innings, 3 walks. That's his control has been an issue. 2 earned runs though. He keeps the earned runs down. He gets out of trouble, always in trouble. But that's a winnable game. Giving up 2 earned runs, that's a very winnable game. And we only score 1 run. We only score 1 run for him. Nimmo has a home run. That moves Senga to 6-5 now. ERA's at like 3.35 or something like that, or 3.4. So it's just absolutely awful. Yeah, you got to feel bad for Senga because the dude's battling out there. He's probably been our most consistent pitcher, starting pitcher this season. Well, I shouldn't say that. McGill and Peterson, they were consistently bad, but I'm talking consistently good. Even though Scherzer has turned it around pretty well his last bunch of starts. So got to give Scherzer credit where credit's due there. But Senga goes out there, he battles and gets no help at all. So Mets dropped the game 1, 5-1. Chris says Mets Phillies game 3 was brutal. Yeah, absolutely brutal. It's brutal. Like there's no word to really describe how bad it was. I mean, brutal's pretty close, but it still doesn't really encapsulate the annoyance, the anger, the I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It's a brutal's close, but there has to be another word for it. So game 2, we come out, we get the 4-2 win. Mad Max goes out there, 6 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 8 Ks, 107 pitches. Terrific start for Scherzer. And here's the biggest part of this game. Looking back on it now, what does they say? That the saying's hindsight's 20/20, whatever the hell that means. Looking back at it, you have Raley, Ottavino, and Robertson come into that game in relief. So that's kind of like a foreshadow here for game 3. I think Rayleigh was also in game 1. I'm not sure about Ottavino. I think Ottavino was the last game of the Houston series possibly or something like that. But they had work. That's the problem. They had some work. We don't want them to get overly tired. So we moved to game 3. Game 3, Mets are up 6-3 going into the 8th inning. Everything's looking great. Awesome. Carrasco only went 4 innings, 2 earned runs, a lot of pitches, 5 hits, 5 Ks, 2 walks, a typical Carrasco outing almost, besides the high amount of earned runs, only giving up 2 earned runs, but he was pulled early. I'm not going to lie, I didn't watch this game. I was at a softball tournament for my daughter for the Not Your Average Janes, and my daughter, who's a Phillies fan, made sure to keep telling me the score. 6-3, she wasn't smiling. So, oh, Dad, it's 6-4. Oh, Dad, it's 6-5. Freaking kids, man. You give them life, and this is what they do to you. Our boy Nelson checking in. There he is, Amish Country Mets fan, Nelson. Like I said earlier, he and Chris started a new podcast yesterday on Tuesday. I listened to it last night. Really, really good job, guys. The Interstate Mets Pod, I think it's called. It's Interstate. It's Interstate something. Give me the exact name of it, and I'll put it out there. Well, to be 100% honest with you, we had a better day than the Mets did. We were 2-0. It was a compressed schedule because of supposed to be a full weekend of games, but since Saturday was rained out, they compressed the schedule on Sunday. There was no bracket. It was just pool play. And so we won 2-0, but we lost in the tiebreaker with runs allowed. We allowed 11 runs. The team that won it allowed 10 runs. So we took home the silver on that one. But you know what? It was an improvement for us. We are getting better, whereas the Mets are not getting better. The Interstate Mets Report, that's what it is. I knew it was Interstate Mets something. The Interstate Mets Report, make sure you check that out on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Nelson and Chris do a great job with that. They also do some post game reports occasionally, and those are really good also. And you know what? I do feel like we were upset. I feel like there was plenty of time for a championship game. Another storm did roll through, but you know what? It is what it is. And not to get off subject here with the Mets, but talking a whole lot of Not Your Average Danes, but it was kind of unfortunate because the first game had a 13-run lead. We gave up 4 runs in the last inning. There's runs allowed. Then of the second game, we were down 4-0, came back, we were up 8-4 going into the last inning, and we gave up 3 runs. So you see that run differential, not being able to nail it down there at the end, but overall, good day. My daughter played well, and I looked good at third base, coaching third base, waving girls home and trying not getting them thrown out at home. That's what I do. I try. That happens a lot of times, but I try not to get them thrown out at home. Eileen! Good morning, Eileen. How are you today? Working hard or hardly working? Anytime, brother. Anytime. Shoot me your handles for the shows, and I'll put them out there. If there's any Mets fans or any baseball fans that want to check it out, they can subscribe to your YouTube channel. Yours or Chris's, and we'll hook you up. That's my girl. There it is. Fantastic. So to finish off game 3 there against the Phillies. So like I said, up 6-3 in the 8th inning. Nothing feels comfortable with the Mets anymore, but still, you had to feel pretty good with your chances to win. 6-3, 8th inning, and it just takes a turn. Beatty has a throwing error. I guess from everything that I heard, I watched the replay. Kind of looked like he double clutched. Bad throw to second base. A runner was already scoring because he was taking the fielder's choice, but it extends the inning. Runners advance. Then it was, I think Walker walked a guy. Then Brigham comes in, walks another guy. So that walks a run in. Makes it 6 6'5", hits consecutive batters, hits Schwarber. Oh, freaking Schwarber's hitting 170. I'd rather Schwarber hit a grand slam than us hit him and bring in the tying run. I'd rather do that. That way you can say, you know what, we challenged him and we lost. But to hit him with the goddamn pitch, and I think, I don't know if it was that at bat or if it was the Trey Turner at bat where the previous pitch almost hit him as well. I feel like it was the Trey Turner at bat, but I mean it's Jeff Brigham. I don't understand it, like how something like that happens. I just don't understand it. I challenge them. Let them beat you with the bat. Fine. It still sucks. It still hurts. But they giving up runs by hit by pitches and walks. You're walking people in and hitting batters and letting them come through. Like it's so frustrating. It's like it's the epitome of the season. That's how the season has been so far. It's just none of it makes any sense, and it's just it's infuriating. It's frustrating as a Mets fan, and I'm Mr. Positivity. I stay positive all the time. I'm like, well, if we can get on a run here, we take some series, maybe get like a 4 or 5 game win streak. Nothing big, it doesn't have to be a 15, 20 game win streak. Nothing like the Oakland Athletics or the Moneyball, movie or whatever. But it just doesn't. So frustrating. So the thing where I said about the game before, we won 4-2, and our relief pitchers that came in were Brooks Raley, Ottavino, and Robertson, and I'm like, why can't at least one of those guys work the next day? I don't understand it. These are professional athletes, professional pitchers. They can pitch more than 2 days. They can pitch more than 3 or 4 innings in a couple of days. I just don't understand, like, why for a series win, this is a series win against a division rival who you've owned the last 2 seasons. We've owned the Phillies the last 2. Our last series win came in the beginning of the month where we swept the Phillies. We haven't won a series since then. We own the Phillies, and this is what we do. I don't understand why we wouldn't put out our best guys for the fan base just wants a series win. That's all we're asking. Nothing big. Please, a series win. We had it there in our hand, our little hand. We had a series in our little hand, and Buck does that. Buck does that. He's like, no, not today, Mets fans, not today. No, not today. No, Raleigh, no, he's not available. David Robertson, no, he's not available. No, not doing any of that. No, I don't get it. The thing is, these decisions last season, Buck got away with. So it's this year. I've said this on the show before. I said this during last season. To be honest with you, if you go back and watch some old episodes, which you can or you can't. Usually, I start off with the Batman mask on and stuff like. Maybe that's a difference. Maybe I got to start wearing the mask at the beginning of the episodes to get things turned around here for the Mets. Because I've been changing hats and it's not working. Trying different shirts, it's not working. Maybe I should go back to the mask at the beginning of episodes and something different. I don't know, but anyway, I said last season the way the Mets were winning games with infield hits and blue pits and like saving the bullpen and stuff like that. Like that's not sustainable in my opinion. It's not sustainable. It's not. It's not a way to win consistently, and consistently is the key word there. It's something I talked about all season. Is up and down, up. It's a roller coaster. The Mets are the roller coaster. And the last episode I was on, last show I did, I said the roller coaster was at the loading dock, loading station, whatever the hell you want to call it, where people file through and they get on. Oh, I want the front. I want the front. You don't want the front of this ride here. You don't want the front at all. But yeah, I just feel like you can see it kind of coming last year, the way the Mets won most of their games last year with some fortunate bounces, some lucky hits, or some games where kind of got away with an odd move or two in the bullpen. But it's infuriating, it's frustrating. And as much as I like Buck, I think the buck stops here. I think it's time for Buck to maybe start looking for employment somewhere else, maybe another TV station, maybe go back to the ESPN, and talk some basketball, because that's what they do there. I mean, I don't understand. Like, I listen to I miss Mike and Mike. Not to get on the ESPN thing here, but I miss Mike and Mike. I miss Mike and Mike. At least they talk about all sports. Listen to whatever the hell's on in the morning on my way home from work at 6 o'clock in the morning. Whatever the hell's on, I don't remember, with Max and Jay Will and Keyshawn. Every day it's basketball. Every goddamn day it's basketball. It's basketball. It's basketball. There was a huge hockey trade. Huge hockey trades. And we're talking basketball. It's the middle of the baseball season. The Braves are running wild right now. Shohei Ohtani. We're talking basketball. Why? I don't get it. But anyway, get off of that. I'm going to hit up some comments here because I'm starting to get I'm getting sweaty. Let's see here. We got Nelson. Totally agree. Buck is lost. He's very. And I'll tell you what. I like Buck. I like Bucks. I think he's a smart baseball guy. But sometimes you're too smart for your own good, or you think you're smarter than you actually are, or I like watching your guys show. These guys talked a lot about the analytics department. If that's even a thing, which I heard it is. I've seen them talk about it on SNY and stuff like that. The analytics department, fire their asses. I don't understand. It's somebody's fault. I mean, if it's the analytics department telling Buck he has to, keep putting Vogelback in the lineup against righty pitchers or whatever. No, fire him. I mean, Vogelback has played somewhat better, since his mental break, which again boggles my mind. If I go into work and say, you know what, I'm going to need some time off for a mental break, it's not going to happen. I mean, maybe it will. I don't know. I'm going to have to try this out now that I think about it. I think Vogelbach just gave me an idea. Thank you, Daniel. Chris says, exactly. He got away with these same exact decisions last year. Yeah, he was fortunate last year. It kind of came back and bit us in the ass at the end of the season, losing the division to the Braves and then going into the playoffs. It's just, it didn't turn out well, but he 100 win season, and nobody looks at it, but you Buck's the manager of the year. That's what you put him on a pedestal, and you don't look at the fine details to it. And I said it last season. I said this isn't a consistent way to win baseball. They're doing it. They're lucky. They're getting lucky. Sometimes luck is good. Sometimes luck is better than good luck is having better. Good luck is better than having no luck, or bad luck is whatever the hell it is. But you know what I'm saying. Adam Glenn says, thanks for letting the Phillies win. Yeah, exactly what it is. Exactly what it is. They let the Phillies win. So they had to grease the poles and everything in Philadelphia again, because the Phillies finally beat the Mets in a series. Chris says, thank you. Masked by 101 wins. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's all of the failures and puzzling moves last season were masked. They were in the shadows because it was, looking at those big numbers, triple digit wins, first place for almost the whole season. And so Cowboy Dave, what's going on, brother? Eileen says, you think that's what Gary Cohen's press conference is about later on? I don't know. I to be 100% honest, I don't know what Uncle Steve's he being Steve Cohen, but I don't know what Uncle Steve's press conference is going to be about. It's probably going to be one of those press conferences where I have total faith in Buck and Billy to get things done. Blah 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 blah. It's probably going to be one of those. But like they said on the interstate Mets report with Nelson and Chris, maybe there's, maybe talk something about maybe president of baseball operations, maybe, talk something about that, or maybe, I don't know, at least like they said on the, again, it's what I was getting to, at least they said this on the Interstate Mets report. At least he has the balls to get up there and talk. The way things are going, it's easy to get up there and talk when your team's doing great. But when it's going this poorly, you spent that much money on your roster for this season. At least he has the balls to get up there and talk about it. You don't see, a perfect example, and Nelson put out on his show yesterday. You don't see the Pittsburgh Pirates owner doing that. You just don't see it happening. It's Kansas City Royals owner. You don't see him doing that. He's at home shining up his World Series trophy from a few years ago when they beat the Mets. Eileen says, I heard the Keyshawn show getting axed. I hope so. I hope they go somewhere different. I can't stand it. It's, since football season ended back in February, it's been all basketball every damn day. During the NHL, when the NHL Stanley Cup Finals were over, the last game of the finals where Vegas Golden Knights win, they mentioned it once and like, oh yeah, the Golden Knights won a Stanley Cup, and they all giggled. It's like I can't stand it. It's like I hate it. I really don't like it. I don't know why I listen to it. A lot of times I turn on the Beatles channel to kind of soothe, to calm the beast. My Sirius XM. Cowboy Dave says, don't give up on Buck. There's still a lot of game left. No, I give up on Buck. I don't give up on the team. I won't give up on the team until probably September. But yeah. I think he says, Steve Cohen, Christ, I'm already lost my mind at 10:20 a.m. I knew who you meant. Actually, you made me question because I'm so forgetful. I'm like, wait a second. Is it Steve or Gary? Which one's on SNY? I mean, is that Steve or is Gary's the one on SNY? I was all confused because I forget a lot. I forget. So like I said, it's just, absolutely dreadful. The one positive that came out of that Phillies game, in my opinion, was Hartwig. Two innings pitched, scoreless. He was called up, I don't know if it's like a week ago, something like that. And, since he's been up, hasn't given up an earned run yet. He's pitched very well. So, to me, that's a bright spot. So then we move on to the Brew Crew, who they earlier in the season, they beat our asses something fierce. You got my Mets dugout mug here, if you can see it. Yeah, there you go. I love dugout mugs. I can't get over it. I think they're fantastic. It's such a great idea. Anyway, earlier in the season, I don't know if it was the second or third series of the season, they actually spanked their asses, pretty bad. And so here we are again. This time we're at home, and game one, 2-1 loss. I mean, just after that Phillies game, kind of come in deflated, and Verlander doesn't give up a run, but it only pitches 5 innings, which kind of hurts, because after the bullpen, gets their peckers whacked, the day before. The last thing you want to do is have them go out there and pitch 4 more innings. So, but there they are. Verlander, like I said, 5 innings pitched, no runs, 2 walks, 5 Ks, 100 pitches in those 5 innings. Just couldn't seem to. Some of the at bats just couldn't seem to get the out. Which, as a pitcher, I'm sure that happens a lot. Drew Smith, of course, up there serving up beach balls, gives up a 2-run bomb. I think that's the 6th or 7th inning, and that puts us away. So that's a 2-1 loss. Offense, nowhere to be found. So then last night, though, the Mets kind of turned around a little bit. No reason to really get all excited. It's one game. 7-2 win. David Peterson was brought back up for this start, and every single Met fan, every single one went like this. Oh, why the hell are they bringing David Peterson up? Why are they bringing David Peterson up? And every single Met fan was very surprised by his performance. He pitched well. He did get into some trouble a couple times. Was able to pitch out of it. Give him credit where all of his starts, almost all of his starts. I think his only decent start before that was his first start against the Marlins. But every other start he had this season, whenever he got in trouble, it got worse and worse. It compounded, it compiled, it just built on it. And last night he got into trouble a couple times, and he was able to get out of it. So you got to give credit where credit's due there. 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, no earned runs, 3 walks. Again, that's a bugaboo. That's one of the things that he struggled with. I think all of our pitching has most of our pitching has really struggled with his walks. Scherzer and Verlander maybe not so much, but everybody else, bullpen, starting pitching, the walks have really, really hurt us this season. Nimmo had a couple of home runs last night. Lindor had a home run. Vogelback had a couple of hits and a home run. Like I said, Vogelback has been playing a little bit better since his mental break. And but I'm not gonna sit here and praise Daniel Vogelback. I won't do it, damn it. Tonight we have Senga going against Wade Miley, which looking up his stats, he's 5-2 with a 2.91 ERA. He hasn't given up an earned run in his last 2 starts, so that ought to be a lot of fun. So hopefully Senga brings his A game. Hopefully he's on point and doesn't throw a lot of balls. That seems to be his issue is the walks. Leads to shorter outings. But like I said, he doesn't give up a lot of runs, but we need Senga to have one of his games where he's going 7 or 8 innings. We really need that tonight. Our boy Joel Sullivan. He goes, what do you think Cohen will say tonight? Vote of confidence for Buck. The dreaded vote of confidence. I think it's gonna be a vote of confidence for Buck and for Billy Epler. No doubt. I just can't see him come on TV for a press conference and say, you know what, Buck's got to go, Billy's got to go. I just don't see that happening. He's gonna come. He's gonna do the normal owner thing. I have total faith in Buck Showalter. He's a proven track record. Blah blah blah. Billy Epler, yeah, all that good stuff. I'd be super pumped if he came out there and said, you know what, this isn't good enough. We need to be better. If we have to make changes, we will make changes. I'll be like, oh yeah, this is what I'm talking about. This is an owner that tells it like it is, but I guess got to be professional. I suppose. I don't know. But I'm going to be interested to see what he says. It's interesting to see him come out. Have a press conference like this and yeah. Joe says the Mets win tonight. I hope so. It's a 4-game set with the Brewers. You want that series win, 3 wins out of 4. That would be awesome. But even a split, you kind of take, right now, anything. It's Cowboy Dave says Mets are going on a run. I'm telling you. There we go. I like the way you think, Dave. We got the Brew Crew. Then we have the San Francisco Giants and the Arizona Diamondbacks, the top 2 teams out there in the West. So it's going to be interesting. Nelson says, yep, this press conference is totally predictable. Yeah, it's almost like what do you call it? Not a guideline, but it's already written out for you. It's like it's always the same thing over and over and over again. When you see an owner or even a GM come out and talk about their head coach, it's always the vote of confidence. And there's no confidence. You just know. And one thing, Nelson, I thought you guys brought up a good point yesterday was it doesn't seem like they're having fun at all. It seems stale for them. It seems blah. It's like I know I made fun of Pete humping the rail, but I'd rather have Pete humping the rail than Pete, after hitting a home run, just kind of jogging back into the dugout and chatting with the boys. I don't see that there's no joy there. I don't get it. I mean, losing sucks ass, but when you do something great, celebrate. Or like yesterday when Pete gets hit, Pete got hit right there in the back, and nothing. Buck kind of gave the squinty Clint Eastwood face that he does every once in a while. Whatever the hell that is, and but there's nothing. There's no Vip or vinegar. Nothing. I just want something. Light a firecracker somewhere. I don't know. It seems stale. Adam says he will say, "Buck, you're fired." I'll tell you what, that'd be like a Vince McMahon. Buck, you're fired. That'd be awesome. That'd be something. that'd be something funny. If they keep struggling, does Scherzer get moved? There's a lot of talk right now with Scherzer being moved. I'll go ahead and flip to that topic. Anyway, but yeah. So Scherzer said he'd waive his no trade clause. So that's like the first step to being traded. Obviously, either he's saying, "Hey, I want to be traded," or they're saying, "Hey, are you interested in being traded?" And he's like, "Well, only if it's to here, and here, this contender, blah, whatever." So him saying he'd be willing to waive his no trade clause. My only thought with it is we don't have a whole lot of pitching prospects, and if you're already giving up on this season, fine. It happens every season to teams, so whatever. But looking ahead to next year, it's like, so all the money that we owe him, we're going to pay him to go somewhere else and play, and now we're even more shorthanded on the mound. I mean, so it's like one of those deals. It's like, yeah, he's paying him a lot of money, and if we could get something decent for him, do you still move him and still pay him a lot of money? And then that leaves us shorthanded for next year. Then we're going to the same thing we did this past season, looking for more starting pitching. That probably isn't going to be out there, and But my gut feeling is that I do feel like Scherzer is going to get moved. I feel like he's going to get moved to a contender or to somebody that's on the fringe of contending. Like I know the Dodgers have been really struggling. I could say for some reason I always feel like them or the Yankees. I don't know if the Yankees need starting pitching or not. I know their offense is really struggling right now with Judge hurt, but I mean if you can get a decent prospect haul. And that's a thing with it. If you can find a trade partner and you can get some really good prospects out of it, it'd be almost worth paying Scherzer's salary for him to go somewhere else. If you can get a couple decent prospects, good prospects. If you can get a couple good prospects, it'd be almost worth paying Scherzer's $40+ million to go play somewhere else and help somebody else out. So, I mean, that I can see. That's my gut feeling, though. I do feel like they are going to move him. I do feel like they're going to move another player or two. I'm leaning towards Canna. Maybe David Robertson, which is a bummer because he's having a really good season. And so yeah. So I do think Scherzer's going to get moved. Eileen says, Steve Cohen, I know we are terrible, but there's nothing we can do right now, so deal with it, Mets fans. He may come out and say that too. He's a billionaire. What are they going to do to him? Right? What are the Mets fans going to do to him? He's a billionaire. Dave says, Mets missed their closer big time. Absolutely. And that's another thing that kind of kept the Mets afloat last year, kept Buck's ass out of hot water was Edwin Diaz. I know when he got hurt, when I did the Bat Cave after he got hurt, a lot of questions kept coming up. Are the Mets going to be able to close games out with Edwin Diaz not being there? And if we had to lead in the ninth inning, which times I believe they could, I don't think we have had a whole lot of blown saves. We've had a lot of blown games, but usually they happen earlier than the ninth inning. But there's how many times last season where he'd come out and pitch, an inning plus, whether it be 2 full innings or an inning and a third or something like that. And, to get the Mets ass out of hot water and to shut the other team down. and then get the save in the ninth. So he's been huge. That's a huge loss this season. And even though Robertson played great, Ottavino's played like the team has, up and down, up and down, up and down, and no consistency. But Edwin Diaz definitely has shown up to hurt. Looking at it now. Joe says if they can get out of a good portion of next year's $43 million, that helps to get Ohtani. Yeah. Well, and the thing is, Cohen hasn't been shy, about spending money. So I don't know if even if that would factor in or not, if Ohtani would be interested in coming here. I mean, right now, why the hell would he want to? The Angels are contending. The Mets are pretending. So, but the Ohtani thing is going to be a lot of fun, I think. To see all the different teams, what kind of money they're going to throw at this guy, and including the Mets. The Mets are going to go after him, no doubt, and that's something. It's going to be interesting because what are they going to do with Pete Alonso then? I'm a big fan of Pete Alonso. I want him to be a Met for life, and what do they do with him? If you're signing Ohtani, are you going to have the means to also sign Pete to a long deal? Now Scherzer and Verlander, I think they have next season yet on the books, and both about $43 to $48 million, about pretty much similar contracts. And so if you trade Scherzer away and you can find somebody to eat at least half of that $43 million, that could help out a lot. But then you still have Verlander sitting there at $43, $44, $45 million next year. So it's still a lot of salary. And I don't see anybody trading for Verlander this season. But you never know. And again, it's those contracts are so huge that it makes it really, really hard. Adam Glenn says I felt all teams from New York are overrated. You feel that all teams from New York are overrated. Well, I don't know if the Yankees are overrated. I mean, they're pretty much are who everybody says they are. A team that offensively is much better when Judge is in the lineup, and Judge is not in the lineup with a torn ligament in his toe. Not just any toe, the big toe. That's the captain toe, so that's important. The pitching's been okay to good, so I mean, I don't know if they're overrated. I think they're kind of right where they're supposed to be. So, but yeah, so who's next for trades? I'm going to back up to what I originally had set up. Mets traded Eduardo Escobar. They traded him to the Anaheim Angels of Los Angeles, or the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. That's what it is. So Escobar is gone, which I think if you ask most fans, you could kind of seen that one coming. Maybe not so much to the Angels, but you felt like Escobar was going to be traded this year, even though he seems like a good teammate, good clubhouse guy. He's one of those guys that always seem to be having fun. It seemed like he was helping. Oh, the lights are on. There we go. Seemed like he really helped Beatty out a lot. And he took the whole Beatty thing in stride, to be honest with you. When they brought Beatty up, basically to take his job, Escobar was playing like crap, and they bring Beatty up, and he has to know, he's a veteran. He has to know what's going on. They're bringing Beatty up, the young guy, to take his over at third base to take his job. I mean, even in the offseason, they're trying to get somebody to take his job. So in Correa, but you never heard a word out of him. You never heard there's turmoil in the locker room because Escobar's pissed off that Beatty's up here trying to take his job. Blah blah blah. I'm not getting a fair shake from the Mets. You never heard that at all. So kudos to Escobar, and he was playing much better. So you occasionally get a big hit here and there. But again, in this past offseason, I talked about his numbers and his steady decline since his big years a few years ago. His big year a few years ago, where he had 30-plus home runs. It's easily, you see the average and the power numbers, going down, down, down. So It's so it wasn't too surprising. We were able to get a couple pitching prospects, AA pitching prospects, Coleman Crow and Landon Marchot. Coleman Crow is currently injured right now. I guess he has an elbow or shoulder inflammation or something like that. But from the articles I read, he's supposed to be the better of the two prospects so far this year. 2-0 record with 1.88 ERA, which is such a small sample size you can't really tell. Landon Marchot had his first appearance with the Mets farm team with Binghamton, and didn't go well. Lasted only 2 innings, 5 runs. So it just can't win anything now. It's not. It's funny, but it's not funny. Is what I'm getting at here. So after trading Escobar, who's next? Like Sully said, you can check Joe Sullivan out on a Sully squad on Mondays, Tuesdays. Last night, 8:30 p.m. He and Cowboy Dave extra innings talking all Major League Baseball, and then coming up in a few weeks, Sully and I are going to be talking. Sully's bringing back his a show that was a staple for him before called Old School. And we'll be talking old school Mets. We'll be talking 1980s Mets, particularly 86 and later, why the Mets only won 1 World Series there and what happened, some trades and some moves and stuff like that. And so we'll get into that. So I'm really excited to do that with Joe, talk about some old school Mets there, especially I started liking the Mets like it was like 89, 90, somewhere around that area. I was 9 years old, 10 years old. The 86 Mets, I was only 6 years old. So I don't remember a whole lot about the 86 Mets. Besides, video that I've seen on ESPN Classic from time to time. But Howard Johnson was the first Met that I liked. So it's, he was part of the 86 team and, had a couple really good years with the Mets. He's just inducted into the Mets Hall of Fame this year. I was also a big fan of Gary Carter. He was part of that team as well. So very excited to talk about old school Mets with Joe coming up in a couple of weeks. I believe I'm thinking July 11th we were talking about maybe doing it before the All-Star game. But we'll hammer down an exact day and we'll promote it and put it out there for anybody that's interested in it. Nelson says, "Oh, there you go. Ooh, I like that. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I feel like Joe's probably going to do some other sports and other teams after that. I know on extra innings last night I was watching for a little bit. Somebody said, "How about an old school Philadelphia?" Philadelphia sports, old school Philadelphia sports. You could talk about like the Broad Street Bullies or, the 80s Phillies or something like that or whatever. And so it's going to be a lot of fun, the old school show. And it's going to be neat looking back on that stuff and talking about it and talking about the roster, the lineup and what happened. And then, why didn't they win more than one? I know 88 was the next it was the closest they came after 86, winning the 86 World Series. 88, I think they lost to the Dodgers in the NLCS. I think. I could be wrong. So who's next? I'm thinking, like I said, about Scherzer. I do think he's going to get moved. I won't be surprised if he doesn't get moved. But I feel like there's going to be a team out there that's going to be desperate for a starting pitcher. And he's pitched. He's been very consistent. He's pitched well. And so a team would be, benefited to have somebody like that as a starting pitcher. You look at somebody like the Reds. They're there in the top of the Central right now. Anybody in the Central, basically, because the Central is always so tight. AL and NL. Like I said about the Dodgers, maybe the Yankees. Well, so I did see a couple rumors floated out there. Now I don't know if this is factual, or like there's like substance to these rumors or not. The internet's lied to me so many times that I can't trust it. So, But I did see some rumors about Starling Marte possibly to the Yankees. That could be just a fan putting something out there. I don't know. It's just something I've seen. It's like, oh, that's interesting. I don't know what the Yankees have to give up. Adam says the Marlins. Yeah, the Marlins. I'm not sure what their starting pitching looks like. I know Sandy Alcantara's had a rough year so far. He did pitch well, I think it was last night or the night before. So maybe he's turning it around. Dave Arnell says, is Peter the only all-star representing the Mets this season? I do not know. I don't think Pete was voted in yet as an all-star. I think Lindor is the only Met all-star Met player that moved to the next round of all-star voting, which I have no idea what any of that is. I'm not going to lie. I think it's moronic. I think it's nincompoopery, in my opinion, the way they do the all-star voting now. You have Francisco Lindor, who power-wise has had a pretty good year so far, but he's hitting in the 220s. Like, how is that all-star worthy? I don't understand. So, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I don't understand it. So, I really don't pay too much attention to it. When they do release the all-star rosters, I do look to see how many of players from my team made it. But the way this season is going, I mean, I don't know. The only one that I feel like is absolutely deserving might be David Robertson. But, I mean, he's a relief pitcher. That's not an everyday guy. Out of everyday guys, I don't see anybody that's worthy. I mean, Pete, he's up near I think he has the NL lead, or he's tied for the NL lead in home runs. He leads the NL in RBIs, but he's hitting 220. I mean, so is that an all-star? I don't know. So, I mean, Lindor's defense has been really good, but Nimmo, yeah, I'll give you that. Chris says should be Nimmo too. Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about Nimmo. Nimmo is probably the second most deserving Met. He's the most deserving everyday Met player, I should say. So Nelson says has the best shortstop numbers in the National League. I just can't get past the 220, hitting 220. I just can't. Seeing an all-star, like power numbers, okay, I could see. But hitting in the 220s, like I just can't see that being all-star worthy. I don't know. If that's like a – I don't know. I don't know if that's just old school me, but even that, I'd have to go back and look. Like I always picture all-stars hitting, high 200s, low 300s, great overall players. But it just seems like such a struggle for Lindor this year that doesn't seem like it's all-star worthy. I know he was my dark horse to win MVP this year because I felt like his power numbers were going to be up. I felt like his stolen base numbers were going to be up. And I felt like his average was going to dip a little bit, but not the way it has. Like defensively, he's been great. I feel like he's been really, 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 really good. He had a couple of really nice plays last night. I think the last out for Peterson that he had was phenomenal. So, but I mean, all-star worthy, I don't know. There were some rumors about Jeff McNeil possibly being traded. I mean, I don't know what you guys think about that. After just re-signing him this past offseason, is that something that is doable? I don't know. I like Jeff McNeil. So he's really struggled this year. He's hit the ball in the air a lot. He's not finding the little dinky hits that he did last year. And again, last year I said that it's not sustainable. You can't count on that every time, but it is what it is. Dave Yarnell says Ozzie was the best shortstop. His bat wasn't always the best. You know that to be true. And yeah, well, and that's Ozzie, they nicknamed him the Wizard. Ozzie Smith used to go out there and do the backflip. His bat was never good. Never had power numbers. Average was always kind of in the mid to low 200s, I think. I could be wrong there. But I guess when you're that good at a position, does that supersede your average? Is that over, is it easier to overlook your at bats if you're that good at defense? I don't know. It's I'm just saying that was my opinion with Lindor. I feel like his average is so low, and it felt like such a struggle this year so far that I just don't see it being all-star worthy. Even though he is basically, I think he was number 2 in the voting last I heard. For first base, it's so hard for Pete to get in. There's so many great players at first base, and I feel like a lot of times Pete doesn't get the respect that the other first basemen do. How's he any different than Matt Olson? I mean, basically, I think the same numbers. Matt Olson's on the Braves. On a winning team. If the Mets were a winning team, would Pete be getting the same adulation that Matt Olson does? I don't know. I still feel like that Pete gets overlooked once in a while, a lot. I think Pete gets overlooked a lot. Who's alongside Lindor in voting? Swanson? I have no idea. Dansby. What a stupid-ass name, Dansby. Can't stand it. Bro, I talked about this before, Dansby Swanson. It's a stupid-ass name. Who names their kid Dansby? Freaking Dansby. Really? Dansby? He better be like a Dansby Swanson the third or fourth or something, named after a great Civil War grandfather or something. It's Dansby. It's bull crap. Stupid-ass name. So the Robertson, like I said earlier, since there's rumors of Robertson, he could be traded. So if you're trading somebody like Robertson away, that's kind of telling the fan base that you are definitely packing it in because he's our best reliever. Ottavino, heard rumors that he could be available. I mean, you could still have a be a seller and still try to win. It just makes it a lot harder. Arcia. It's Orlando Arcia. Braves fans literally get all their players in. They're sitting there in front of their little computer. Oh, hitting the click, click. Goofy ass Chop. It's kind of funny, the Chop. I was watching Robin Hood Men in Tights. If you ever seen that movie, if you haven't seen the movie, you got to check it out. But I was watching Robin Hood Men in Tights probably like an hour and a half ago, and in the one part of the movie, they're at the archery contest, and people in the stands were doing the Chop. I don't know. It was funny. Arcia has the numbers though, just not the power numbers like Lindor, but batting average, OPS, etc. is there. Yeah, and again, like I said, I was just my thought was because it's such a dip in his average. I don't know, but he is hitting the ball hard this year, so I feel like he's striking out a lot more. Lindor, I could be wrong with that. It could be just a feeling. I'm wrong about a lot of things, so let's hit up the NL East standings here real quick. I don't know why, but let's hit up the NL East standings. First, you have Atlanta at 52-27. They're 9-1 in their last 10. Miami 46-34, 6.5 games back. Fucking Braves are killing it right now, and it pisses me off. Miami's 7-3 in their last 10. Miami's like the Major League Baseball's best kept secret. Nobody's talking about them at all, really. That's you're starting to hear more rumbles recently, but they're putting together a pretty nice season so far. But we're not even at the halfway point yet. Well, we're pretty close. That's 80 games, so we're at the halfway point. There's a whole lot of baseball to go yet. The Phillies at 41-37, 10.5 games back, 7-3. There's another thing. I don't know if I feel like I brought this up before, but I maybe I didn't. Maybe I got nervous because I don't want the Philly fans to come find me and beat me up. But what the hell's the deal with what's the love like? All the love for Kyle Schwarber. I don't understand it. Like, yeah, he hits a lot of home runs, but that's all he does. It's either that or strikes out. The dude is hitting in the 100s, and they look at him like he's a god. Schwarbomb. Oh. He's hitting 100. He's in the 100s. I don't understand it. It's like that boggles my mind. Like it's I don't understand the love for Schwarber. He's either hitting taters or striking out. And he's not a very good left fielder either. So, anyway, getting back to the standings here. The Phillies are 7-3 in their last 10. The Mets are sitting at 36-43. That's 7 games under 500, if you're wondering. Sitting 16 games back. I think it's safe to say that division's out for us. At 16 games back. So I'm still going to read the NL East standings every week, just because I feel like I should. The Mets in their last 10 are 3-7. Then you have Washington, the Nats at 31-48, 21 games back. At least you knew they were going to be bad going into the season. It's not a surprise that the Nationals are 21 games back. It's a surprise the Mets are 16 games back. The Nats are 4-6 in their last 10. So now on to the wild card standings, which is a little bit more. If we're going to go for the playoffs, this is the route we're going to have to go. Right now, you have Miami leading the way. Then San Francisco, I think they're a half game up on San Francisco, I think it is. And then the Dodgers sitting in the third and final wild card spot. Then you have the Phillies are 3 games behind them. Milwaukee's 3.5 out. So we need these wins. The Cubs are 6.5 out. San Diego 7.5 out. Pittsburgh 8 out, and the Mets are 8.5 games out. So it's pretty far, but you know what? It's doable. A lot of freaking work. A lot of work to make up these games. And the teams above you got to beat them. You got to beat the teams above you. Starting with Milwaukee the rest of the series, and then San Francisco. That's they're second place right now in the wild card. Got to take care of business. So 8.5 out. It's a lot, but it's doable. Before I move on to some LA Kings talk, I'm going to go ahead and hit up a sponsor here real quick. So bear with me. Rawr. There it is. Monkey Cold Coffee, baby. Bourbon, chocolate chip infused, toasted coconut rum. Thank you very much. That's all I got to say about that. I love them both. Fantastic coffee. Check them out at monkeycoldcoffee.com. And when you're checking out, type in the promo code OOTB Sports for 10% off. Check out their store. They besides the coffee, besides the bourbon chocolate chip infused coffee, besides the toasted coconut rum coffee, they also have a rum cake, which is fantastic. I bought it, I think it was a few months ago. And I was kind of skeptical because, like I said before on past episodes, I've tried the Jack Daniels whiskey cake or whatever the hell it was, and it was awful. But their cake on monkeycoldcoffee.com's website was really good. It wasn't overpowering. Nice and moist. They also have T-shirts, coffee mugs. I just got my coffee mug in the mail a couple days ago with another bag of toasted coconut rum. Tumblers. I have the tumbler as well, and also the cold brew pitcher. They have a cold brew pitcher on there, so you can make cold brew your coffee. And actually, I just made a pitcher of toasted coconut rum cold brew. So I'm rocking it, man. I'm rocking the Monkey Cold Coffee. You can get all that at monkeycoldcoffee.com. And like I said, at checkout, use the promo code OOTB Sports. And if you're not a coffee fan, if you're like, you know what, I hate coffee, I don't like coffee, I think it's a devil's nectar. For every bag of coffee sold, now think about this when you're hating on it. For every bag of coffee sold at monkeycoldcoffee.com, they donate a portion of the proceeds to battle pediatric cancer, to benefit the pediatric cancer to benefit pediatric cancer research. I lost my train of thought there. To benefit that. So even if you don't like coffee, buy a bag for a gift for somebody or something like that. Help them find a cure for pediatric cancer. and support the cause. At the very least, support the cause, and check it out at monkeycoldcoffee.com. So, hey, I'm back. So yeah, like I said, I think it's terrific coffee. You may not be a coffee fan or whatever. Buy yourself a T-shirt. Like I said, buy a bag of coffee for mom, dad. Maybe your brother likes coffee. A coworker has a birthday coming up, or it's 4th of July. You're going to a 4th of July picnic or something like that. So you know what? Instead of going with a bottle of a 2-liter of cola, let me take a bag of coffee with. Somebody will appreciate it. When you do that, you're also helping with pediatric cancer research. So, think about it when you're doing that. You're helping little kids out. All right, so we're going to move on to some LA Kings talk here real quick. The Kings traded away Sean Durzi, which was not too much of a surprise to me. He a decent offensive defenseman, but he really struggled. He really struggled on defense. They showed up. It was kind of glaring during the playoffs, and actually the stretch run of the season. As much as he helped on offense, he kind of hurt on defense. So, but they traded him to the Phoenix Coyotes for a 2024 second-round draft pick. Only 24 years old, so he has his whole career ahead of him. So, I think he'll help Phoenix out. Phoenix struggled last year, not a very good team. He'll help them out offensively, but defensively, which is he's a defenseman. I don't know. So we'll have to wish him good luck. Good luck, Sean Durzi, with the Phoenix Coyotes. And then big trade the other day. I think was it yesterday or the day before? The Kings traded Alex Iafallo, Gabe Vilardi, and Rasmus Kupari for Pierre-Luc Dubois. PLD. Well, I'm just going to stick with PLD. PLD, 25 years old. Had a great season this past year. A good season this past season. 73 games, had 63 points. 2 years ago, he had his career high in goals, 28 goals. As soon as they made the trade, they did an 8-year extension with him for an annual value of $8.5 million per year. So he's rich. He doesn't have to go work in a factory. I was a big Alex Iafallo fan. I liked Alex Iafallo. I thought Gabe Vilardi was untouchable. I really didn't think they'd trade him away. Gabe Vilardi, huge fan favorite. Played well in the playoffs. Played well down the stretch. Offensively, did really well for us. Had some big plays. Alex Iafallo did pretty well in the penalty kill, not against the Oilers, because nobody did well against the Oilers in the penalty kill. But yeah, Alex Iafallo, like I said, a big fan, but I wasn't too surprised to see his name on there. It's just like he wasn't producing a whole lot. Like I think they were expecting more out of Iafallo than what they got. But yeah, I'm surprised. I'm surprised they traded Vilardi. I really am. I'm glad I didn't get the Iafallo jersey I was looking to get. So, but yeah, I'm surprised they traded Vilardi, and they also gave up a second-round draft pick as well. 2024 second-round draft pick, which I don't know if that's the same 2024 second-round draft pick they got from the Coyotes or not. But Rasmus Kupari was, I think the Kings, I don't know if he was their first or second-round pick a few years ago. Played 66 games this year, like 3 goals. I think he had 15 points in total. So not a whole lot of production out of Rasmus. But yeah, PLD is a huge pickup. A center, plays well both sides of the ice. From everything I've read, I don't know much about him. So bigger dude, I think he's 6'3", 6'4". anything that to get the Kings over the hump, I'm for it. If that means trading away a couple fan favorites, then so be it. But we need a goalie. So Phoenix Copley played well for us last year, but we need another goalie desperately. I don't think Korpisalo is going to be the answer as much as I wanted him to be. But after the playoffs against the Oilers, we need something a little bit better than that. I wish they would have gave Phoenix a chance, but fifth in butts for candy and nuts, and whatever the hell that means. So that's all I got for the Kings for right now. They have the draft. The NHL draft is coming up. They don't have any first-round picks. So they have. I know they have a second. I think a second and third. I think they have a couple fourth-round picks, maybe. I think they have 7. I think they have 6 or 7 in total. Got another sponsor read here real quick for all you people that are still watching. My faithful. Jay Fine Law. Jason Fine. Attorney Big Al. You can reach Big Al at 1-800-HURT-123. That's 1-800-HURT-123. Jay Fine Law specializes in motor vehicle accidents, slip and fall, workman's comp, personal injury claims. And you can call Jason 24/7 directly at 267-962-4895 or our boy, Maiko Spencer, at 267-303-7324 for a free consultation. They now have 3 offices throughout Pennsylvania and New Jersey. The New Jersey location is Cherry Hill, New Jersey, 3 Greensward Lane, Cherry Hill. The phone number there is 856-209-5258. The next location is Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in the Steel City. And the location is 500 Grand Street, Suite 2900 in Pittsburgh. And the number there is 412-365-8151. And last but not least, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania at 1628 JFK Boulevard, Suite 2120 in the city of brotherly love. And the phone number there is 267-888-2980. And when you contact Jay Fine, Attorney Big Al, make sure you tell him that the Bat Fry sent you from the Bat Cave. Our show schedule here, Mondays at 4 p.m. with Joystick Junkies. 6 p.m., the Sully Squad, 8:30, the Big Blue Power Hour. Tuesdays at 8:30, Extra Innings. Then, of course, Wednesdays at 10 a.m., you have the Bat Cave. 8 p.m., you have College Football Frenzy, which will be returning the end of July 27th, I believe. And at 9:30 p.m., you have Dem 215 Boys talking Dallas Cowboy football. Thursdays, you have Big Mike's 4 for 4 Locker Room Podcast. Talking all Philadelphia sports, Flyers, 76ers, Phillies, and who am I missing? The Eagles, of course, the Eagles, duh. And then Fridays, the newest show on Out of the Box Sports, 10:30 p.m. with myself and Cowboy Dave, the Atomic Drop Podcast, talking WWE wrestling, all WWE wrestling, old and current. Money in the Bank's coming up this Saturday, so we got a big show on Friday talking Money in the Bank. And Saturdays at 10 p.m., you have myself and Vegas Rob will be making his triumphant return next Saturday. Not this Saturday, but next Saturday. Vegas Rob will be back after his hiatus. But you have the Vegas Sports Scene at 10 p.m. Eastern on Saturdays. Coming soon, we have a whole bunch of shows coming soon, like Fuji's Philly Flair. Not only talking sports, but also entertainment in Philly and everything Philly. Anything and everything in Philadelphia. You have a Commanders show coming up called Commanders Gridiron, an NFC East roundtable, pre and post games for the Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, and Notre Dame Fighting Irish. A debate show, the Old School Hour, like I was talking about earlier about doing an Old School Met show with Sully, which should be the first episode, I believe, for the Old School Hour, coming up here really soon. So that and much, much more. I think we're also going to be doing an an entertainment show called Lights, Camera, Action, where we're talking like movies or like TV series or whatever. So be on the lookout for that as well. So yeah, so something for everybody here at Outbox Sports. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Like, follow, subscribe. And last but not least, getting all the reads out of here at the end, the Not Your Average Jane softball team. Like I said, it's a 14U softball team that I coach, travel softball team that I coach. We just had a tournament this past weekend. Like I said, the Saturday was rained out, so we had a compressed schedule on Sunday. Girls had a nice day. 2-0 we finished, and came out with the silver due to tie-breaking rules. I really wish we could have got a championship game in there, but it is what it is. So we got a tournament this weekend, and hopefully we can carry a little bit of that momentum over and lay the smack down. But yeah, so we're looking for donations. If you're willing and able, anything helps. $1, $5, $10, $1 million would be beneficial. But the cost of everything's going up. Tournament fees are going up, insurance fees, balls. The price of balls are insane. So much so that during tournaments we're in the woods looking for balls that the other teams are losing. To be honest with you, we usually come out with a couple. We usually leave every tournament with our 2 or 3 extra balls just by hunting, going Easter egg hunting in the woods. But yeah, chalk lining for the fields and stuff like that. Everything's going up. So every little bit it helps. We like trying to keep the cost down for our parents of the girls that are on the team. So it's affordable for them. It's a good option for them. And so yeah, so every little bit helps and much appreciated. So hit me up or hit Maiko Spencer up, and we can give you the information as to where to send your donation. Thank you. Hey, here I am again. All right, so that's all I got for today. Like I said, we got the Fuji's Philly Flair. That'll be Saturdays at 11 a.m. I'm not sure when that starts, though. Should be starting up pretty soon. And anybody looking to start that wants to do a podcast, let us know. Hit up Paul Spencer, and we'll help you out. He'll point you in the right direction and get you started and all that good stuff. He's helpful like that. He's put all this together. He's put the cave together. He's done a hell of a job. All right, so that's all I got for today. Finally, I said it like 4 or 5 times, but I mean it this time. That's all I have for today. Kind of holding out for a last comment. Seeing if there's anything pop ups. I hate when I hit the show closing tune there, and then I see a comment pop up. It's like, God damn it, I missed one. So now I'm just kind of rambling to see if one pops up. It doesn't seem like one will pop up, so I'm just going to go ahead and do my show closing. So make sure you check me out again next Wednesday, 10 a.m. You can, if you miss me that much, like I said, I'll be on live this Friday, 10:30 p.m. with the Atomic Drop podcast talking WWE wrestling. Then Saturday at 10 p.m. with the Vegas sports scene talking Las Vegas sports, and of course the Raiders there. And so that's all I got. Let's go Mets. Tune in to the Bat Cave, same bat time, same bat channel. See you then.